My computer is acting a little bit funny today, but I'm assuming that it has, and therefore, welcome, welcome. So good that you guys are joining me. I decided to go on spontaneously because I wanted to just talk a little bit about the summer and what our expectations are as menopausal women trying to lose fat or maintaining our weight, depending on what phase you are in your weight management. And I think for some of us, summer can cause a little bit of anxiety, right? For a number of different reasons. For me, when I think about going out on the terrace, like I did earlier today, and there are flies that are constantly swarming around when I'm trying to have my lunch, have coffee, just chill out and be at peace. And you constantly hear these insects, buzzing by your ears. It's annoying. You can't chill out and enjoy the weather, the birds, the flowers, enjoy the time. No, you have to deal with flies, and the bees, and all the insects that I cannot stand. And, it just puts a damper on your time outside. It's pretty nice. For those of you like me who cannot stand insects. But that's not the only thing about the summer. Sometimes it gets really, really hot. And I know in the winter when it is really cold or even the fall, we sort of look forward to when the summer comes and we shorts on. You can go outside and enjoy the weather, go on picnics, on vacation, go to the beach, and not have to wear all of, the jackets and the sweaters and, all these clothes that, completely, cover us up and just make, the winter also a little bit cumbersome and you look forward to the summer coming. So, there are a lot of things about the summer that we truly enjoy, but there are things that bring us anxiety. So, not just the insects or the hot weather when it's really, really hot and, we're burning, but how about that bikini? Um, where are you guys with the bikini? I don't know about you, but actually, when I was younger, I think I mostly, maybe I wore a bikini maybe once when I was a teenager. I think I probably didn't start wearing a bikini until I was like in my 20s. And even when I got my 20s, I maybe wore a bikini like once or twice. Because I was always self-conscious about how my body looked at the time. And I didn't want to show up looking ratchet, like I hadn't taken care or, um, you know, I didn't want to not look attractive. And so the idea of putting on a bikini also brought anxiety to me. And I didn't do it that often unless I knew that my body was snatched, or at least at the time, how I thought about how my body should look. So if you're like me and you're feeling like that now, and you felt like that back then, when you're younger, I think most of us are menopausal and we're over the age of 40, over the age of 50, so that time is past. But if you felt like that, and you still feel like that now, then I just want to bring you a little bit of encouragement today. So I don't know if I'm even speaking to you. You may not even be that anxious about wearing a bikini, but for some of us, it can be something that we don't necessarily look forward to, having to go to the beach and uncover ourselves and disclose our bodies, especially if we're feeling very self-conscious about the way we look. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jennifer Lipscomb, and I help Black menopausal women with a sweet tooth lose fat on a healthy or fully plant-based diet without giving up dessert. I also help reduce sugar cravings, and a big part of my program is literally losing the belly fat. So I have a number of techniques that I use in the program that I discuss and work with women through so that they learn how to um, you know, eat in a way that supports losing fat and that is grounded primarily with the eating window, having to create an effective eating window so that you are creating a calorie deficit that is effective. So that's you continue to listen in. This video will be particularly about what you need to do in order to get ready for the bikini body. Okay, so I'm pointing to myself, but it's not because I think that I have the bikini body. It's just that I'm referring to, ourselves and what we think about having to put on the bikini. So let me just welcome some of you who have joined. Vanessa, hello. Oh, she says that the sound is funny. It's a bad connection and it's hard to understand what you're saying. Oh, that's not good. Let me just see if there's something that I can do about the sound. I don't know if I don't have my sound up. Let's see, maybe I probably have a number of things on my computer that are probably blocking the sound. So let me just click off. That's what happens when you have a lot of windows up, trying to do a lot of things at once. That's not good. So I hope that if you're listening in, that you can hear me now. And if you are listening in, it would be great if you can let me know if my sound has gotten any better. So I think I've closed out any windows that might be causing any problems. Is there anyone who has checked in and can verify that my sound is okay? If you can hear, you don't even have to say anything. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. I just want to make sure that while I'm going through the tips that you can hear me and I'm not sounding fuzzy. Let's see here. Okay, so Vanessa is gone. Penny, don't see anyone else confirming. So, okay, good. Penny, thank you. That's better. You can hear me. Great. So I hope you heard a little bit about what I said, but if you didn't, then let me just sort of summarize again that in the past, I was always very self-conscious about wearing a bikini, never wanted to go out, exposing too much of my body because I wasn't quite sure if my body was okay, if it was acceptable to be walking around on the beach in public with my body in the way that it was. Now, depending on how I was looking, like I said, in the past, in my teens or my 20s, I definitely look much different then than how I look now. But in terms of being fit, I don't think that there was too much of a difference. I do know that I was very self-conscious. I do know that I worked hard to try and make sure that I was fit. But I think I just had expectations about how my body should look. And I think some of us, or many of us, have those same expectations today. We think that we're supposed to look a certain way because that's what everyone tells us, right? All of the fitness, mainstream fitness gurus out there talk about being bikini ready. And when you hear these concepts about bikini ready and what it means to, have your body fit and acceptable for the beach, then I think it already triggers certain expectations for us to live up to standards that we may not be able to reach. And not because we're not able to reach them, but because our bodies don't necessarily reflect those bikini standards that the fitness gurus are referring to. And they don't have to. And that's the reason why I want to bring this video to you today to say that those things that you need to do to get ready for the beach, to get ready to put on a bikini, that bikini that you had planned to wear for vacation, the things that you need to do are summed up in one list. And that list is of one item, and that item is absolutely nothing. You do not have to do a thing. In fact, when you hear from fitness gurus that you need to be bikini ready, then run in the other direction. If you feel that you need to do something to be bikini ready, then this channel is not for you. This channel is for those women who want to be fit, who want to be healthy, who want to look good, who want to reduce their cravings, lose belly fat, but not for the sake of trying to reach a standard that others are setting, especially those standards that we as Black women don't necessarily attain to or strive for. We come in all shapes and sizes. And it's not for society to tell us how we look and whether or not we're ready for the beach or ready to wear certain swimwear or certain bikinis. It's for us to say whether or not we're ready. So if in the past, like me, you were self-conscious about the way you looked because you thought you did not reflect the look of the bikini ready model, then those expectations you had back then about how you should look, you should definitely consider whether or not you're the problem. The problem is not if you're ready. The problem is, why is society trying to set standards that are not realistic? They're not realistic for the majority of the women, and particularly those women who maybe are not a certain size that the bikini ready model, the model that everyone strives to be, we don't reflect that size necessarily. And especially if we're later on, like, after the age of 40, we have had the kids, or even if we haven't had any kids, we may have hit the menopausal stage, and most of us in this community have. And that means once we have gone over, the age of 40 and we have hit menopause and our estrogen starts to go down, then we automatically start to spread around the belly. And that is a natural response to our hormones. And it's not that, we've done anything wrong. Our bodies are simply responding to that stage in our life when our hormones start to shift. And whether or not we look a certain way, before we go on the beach should not decide or determine whether or not we put that bikini on and go out to the beach and have some fun. Put that bikini on, girl. Put that bikini on. If you were going to wear a bikini anyway, then put that bikini on with how you look right now. Go out to the beach or wherever you plan. You can walk around your house if you need to, and get comfortable with how you look right now and be happy with it, because you are wonderfully made, right? God made us in the way that we are, and we can really, really appreciate it and know that there is nothing wrong with us in the way that we look right now. Now, with that said, how we look and how we appear, even though it may not be the standard that the norm or society strives for, we still can appreciate our bodies for being strong, for being healthy to a certain extent, depending on what your health conditions are right now. But for the most part, if you can breathe, if you can walk, if your heart is pumping, then be happy and be joyful that your body has gotten you this far after all the years that you've been through, and that you're still going, that you can still keep going. And don't get stuck on the idea that you have to look a certain way before you put the bikini on and go to the beach and have some fun. Now, it does take some time if you have certain expectations about how you should look to get there. But you should not wait because you think you'll offend others or others have a certain idea about how you should look before you step out onto the beach with your bikini on. You do you, and be sure that you are fine and you're okay. Now, again, with that said, let's get down to why it is super, super important to still be aware of what our bodies, how healthy we are, where we are with our heart health, where we are with our metabolic health. And the reason why this is so important for Black women is because heart disease is the number one killer of Black women in the US. And there are a lot of different factors that contribute to heart disease, one of which are metabolic disorders like insulin resistance, which causes type 2 diabetes or leads to it. And type 2 diabetes increases our chances of heart disease also when we go into menopause at an earlier age. And so we want to be very aware of our risks for these diseases and work against them. And that's what we do. That means with eating a particular, having a particular eating plan on a daily basis that we stick to, or we try to stick to on a consistent basis. Trying to reduce our stress, because we know that stress can also contribute to heart problems, also to metabolic problems. As our stress increases and it's ongoing for a long period of time, then we are at risk for having high levels of cortisol. And when cortisol is high, then it's very difficult for our bodies to release fat. So we really want to be aware of that. It's not something that we should forget or ignore because we think that it cannot affect us. Our risk is in fact much higher than any other group of women. And so knowing that, then making an effort to modify our lifestyle in such a way so that our routines incorporate healthy eating habits and habits that keep us on track for better health in terms of heart health and in terms of metabolic health, then we're on the right track. And we're on the right track when we are able to apply these techniques that we should be doing in terms of having an eating window, or eating more plants. If you're not fully plant-based, that's not a problem. The issue mainly is to incorporate a lot of different types of vegetables, a rainbow of vegetables in your diet, so that you can increase the amount of vitamins and nutrients that your body consumes. And that's really important for improving our health and keeping us, fit, especially the older that we get. So when we do these things, then we naturally will start to lose belly fat. And belly fat, losing it really does contribute to better health in terms of heart disease and metabolic diseases. So my focus my main focus in the Herschel Fit community, in my Tame Your Taste Buds and Your Tummy program, is to reduce the belly, not just for appearance, because don't get it twisted, appearance is important. We do want to look good and feel good in our bodies. We want to, feel sexy and feel attractive and be able to put on clothes and feel comfortable in our clothes, feel like we look good and together and not ratchet. But at the same time, we don't want to put that as the first priority, because you can lose belly fat and you can lose a lot of pounds, but not be healthy. You can miss the mark with that. So if you put health as the priority, then naturally your body will be fitter, will get in shape, and you'll look fantastic. And it's not a gimmick, it really is the truth. So if you're having high expectations, tell me some of them. You can share some of the expectations that you might have. Okay, now I'm still getting some responses from the group that you cannot hear me. Can you still not hear me? Am I still talking? Is it a low sound? Or what is the issue? Is there some background noise that you're hearing? Maybe somebody can throw that in. um, okay, wait. So Shrimtera says I can't hear it all, but JG says I can hear you just fine. Okay, y'all got me confused. I don't know if you can hear me, if you can't hear me. Maybe it is computer specific. Okay, Penny says she can hear me clearly. Okay, Shrimtera, I'm sorry that you can't hear me. I don't know what it could be. Maybe it was just for a short period of time, but if you still can't hear me, check back to my channel, look at the list of videos. I have videos on losing belly fat and other topics that may interest you surrounding menopausal issues. And so that might be the solution for you today. But definitely come back. I'll be doing a number of lives in the next few days. So I will keep checking on my end to make sure that everything is okay. And hopefully you guys can still continue to hear me, those of you who can. So just to be clear, there is a reality out there. And although one can say to not pay attention to those people out there who are spreading the ideas that a bikini body is the standard, it's difficult to ignore because you see it in social media. You see it all the time, like all over Instagram, like photos, whether they're photoshopped or not, could be the reality that these people, look a certain way. But once you get into comparing and thinking that a certain body type is the norm, then that's when you start getting confused. That's when we all start getting confused, when we think we should look a certain way that others look. And that's the standard that we should strive for. And we therefore need to up our game so that we can look like that. And once we look like that, then we are fine. We've reached our target. We've reached our goal. That's not the target. And that's definitely not the goal. The goal should be for our community, for Black menopausal women, to strive for better health, because then we've got all bases covered. We know that once we start eating a certain way and we start incorporating certain tips, strategies in our daily routine to make sure that our stress levels are low and that our nutrition is optimized, then we can be happy and feel more in control of our health, because we truly are doing what we can on our end to make sure that our health is maximized. So Why do I bring all that up? Because I do, and everyone does. You go through Instagram because just or YouTube. You want some answers for specific things. If you're, getting ready for vacation, you want to have a certain look, and you want a certain bikini, and then you're not quite sure. Ooh, can can I wear that? Am I allowed to put that bikini on? I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not. To really, put those doubtful concerns to the side. And I give you permission, we give each other permission to let that go because it really is not the goal. And it's really not the point for us to be worried about whether or not we look a certain way. Be sure that you're okay and that you look fine, even if you're not with the belly that you want right now. Maybe your belly is spread out, or it's fully bloated, or we all feel a certain way or a certain type of way about our bellies when we first start off with our fat loss journey, or even in the middle of our fat loss journey when we've put in the work. And when I say put in the work, I don't mean, stressful workout sessions or restricting ourselves in terms of calories and putting in the hours at the gym. I don't mean that at all, because in this community, it's all about ease. We're not trying to do those things anymore. We're not in our 20s, we're not in our teens, because that's, really what we did back then. That's what I did back then. I was, after college, an aerobics instructor. And while I was working, I had a little boy at that time. And I was trying to do all the things. I had my aerobics instructor job as a side hustle while I was doing a full-time job. So I would work during the weekends with, teaching women aerobics and doing, fitness bar and all these different things, dance aerobics and all the things. And I remember thinking I would not want to step into the fitness studio, if I had put on some weight. So I did all that I could to make sure that I looked instructor ready, that when I went into my class and I was teaching women or instructing women, aerobics and all the things, that I looked a certain way, that they would feel confident that the instructor who's teaching them had it all together and was not, also in her own struggle. But the reality was that I was doing extra hard, doing the most to make sure that I was a certain size. And that meant that I wasn't necessarily comfortable in my body, because I wasn't necessarily comfortable with how I was going about maintaining my body. A lot of the things that I did, like running and aerobics, I never lifted weights at that time, but all the other workout sessions I did, they were fun for me because I like to actually work out. I love to move. It was fun for me. And my classes were fun. I loved the students in my classes, but I knew not just what I did in the studio was important, but also what I did outside. So I did do extra stuff to make sure that I looked a certain way. And that meant sometimes, cutting back, and not just a little bit, but sometimes a lot. Or I would, be triggered and sort of binge, because back then you could eat whatever you wanted. And then, on the next day or even in the evening, get on the stair climber at the gym, or the Stairmaster or whatever, and work it off what I just ate, Okay, it can't just be 30 minutes, has to be an hour or 2 hours even, trying to lose that what I just put on in terms of calories. So it was all backwards. And it really was not forward thinking, as far as I'm concerned, at that time. It was basically, I would say, another form of brainwashing to think that you could eat what you wanted and then outrun it and that was all that you needed to do. Yes, our metabolism is much different, or was much different when we were younger, but that does not give us the go ahead, or the ticket, the green card to go ahead and eat that way, have certain eating habits that are not necessarily healthy or optimal for us, and then, run it off or work it off. So, or what's um, the saying, work hard, play hard, sort of that motto, of doing, all that you have to do to work off the fun that you had. It's a little bit backwards. That's not a sustainable lifestyle. And especially not when you're in menopause, or you're over, a certain age. Your body doesn't necessarily respond like it did in the past. So for me, it's very important to make sure that we know the difference, that menopausal bodies, or postmenopausal even, because I am in fact postmenopausal, but I know that the cravings are still real. And the symptoms are still real. I still go through, hot flashes, and depending on what I eat during the week or on the weekend, it really can affect the symptoms that I have. So menopausal bodies will, for a period of time, even 10 years postmenopausal, and even further down the road, will have, fluctuations with our hormones. And it's important that we do all that we can to make sure that certain things stay the same. So if our eating stays right, and our exercise is done right, then we can feel happy that we're doing all the right things, that we're doing what we can to take care of ourselves, to make sure that, we are caring for our bodies in a healthy way, that we are mentally stable, and that we're not sort of, being persuaded, or influenced or brainwashed by 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds who think that the bikini body is the standard for everyone. Now, I say that knowing that I'm postmenopausal. Even if I would be in my 20s and 30s, I still don't think that the bikini body that everyone refers to, or that the mainstream fitness industry refers to, as being the standard for everyone. I don't even think that it should be considered a standard for anyone. Everyone, like I said in the way beginning, has, their own body type. And there are diverse bodies out there, and diverse body types. And I think we really should, as a community, learn to appreciate them all, so that we can learn to appreciate our own body. And we would start to do that even more if we actually cultivated a community and a society that thought in that way. So start today. I give you permission to appreciate where you are right now in your journey. And until you reach the target of losing your belly, not for the sake of just appearance, that is a part of it. I'm very clear about that. I do want to feel and look good, but not based on somebody else's standard, but on my own, about what I appreciate, being a healthy, strong, attractive, and shapely body in all its form, not the bikini body necessarily, that is, no, 0% body fat, and ripped, with a six pack, abs, and all of this. That's great. Really, I do appreciate that. And I think that everyone in their, if they've worked out and they've built their bodies like that, I'm not taking that away from them. You go. But I don't want that to be forced on me, and for me to feel as though I need to look like that. Everyone is at their own stage in their journey. And like I said, if we put health first, and a part of that being to lose belly fat, not for the sake of appearance only, but mainly for our health, then everything else will start to follow. And it really is as simple as that. So if you are interested in learning the quickest way and the safest way, the most effective way to lose belly fat and to incorporate healthy eating habits into your daily routine, then you can join my Tame Your Taste Buds and Your Tummy course. It is a course that goes over 7 days. I just am coming out of my Belly Be Gone group coaching, which was a 12-week program. And part of that is the Tame Your Taste Buds and Your Tummy, reduce sugar and lose belly fat sugar detox challenge. And that's part of the first 7 to 14 days. But what I've done for this course now is to shrink it basically into a smaller, easier to digest program for those women who really want to lose belly fat as quickly as possible, but they know what they need to do. They just need to know how to do it. They need a system that will help them to apply the knowledge that they have, because many of the women in this community are already aware, okay, I need to increase the amount of veggies that I have in my diet, and I need to have perhaps a window on the time that I'm eating. There are a lot of women, and that's another live that I'm going to do about intermittent fasting or having an eating window. There are a lot of women who are against it because they think that it simply means restriction and that they'll deny themselves. But the fact of the matter is that it's really one of the healthiest ways to eat, that you're saying to yourself, okay, I've eaten my calorie requirements for the day and I don't need to eat anymore. Anymore means that I'm overeating and I'm permitting myself to overeat, and I'm trying to justify it by saying that I don't want to deny myself, so I will open up the window and allow myself to eat all day. That's not what we want. We want to have control over our eating habits. We want to eat in a way that is responsible, that is that's healthy, that actually helps us and to eat in a way that not only creates the calorie deficit, but helps us to be aware of our hunger signals, to be aware of our, eating, being mindful of how we're eating. And having an eating window or intermittent fasting allows us to do that because it makes us more aware of our cues and our, emotional eating, why we're eating, what we're eating, why we're eating, when we're eating. All these things are addressed in my course. And like I said, it goes over the course of 7 days. And a part of that is also not just reducing sugar cravings and having an eating window, but it's also how you incorporate more plants in your diet and how you're able to, have food specifically for menopausal women who have a sweet tooth and who want to have sweets and not deny themselves dessert. How do you create food that is supportive of fat loss? If you want to have desserts, if you want to have sweet foods, how can you still eat that and not increase your cravings again? If you want to reduce your cravings, it doesn't make sense. You can eat dessert. Doesn't that work against it? In fact, it doesn't. If you're able to prepare desserts in a meaningful way, in a way that actually supports fat loss, but that is also good for curbing your appetite and reducing your cravings. So there are a number of hacks that I have that I share that are very systematic. There's a 7-step process that you go through. And in addition to that, we also have group coaching. So every day of the week for an hour. I am available to answer your questions, anything that you have that's even specific to you, I will address during the call. And we'll also have an app that is specific for Her Soul Fit that tracks your progress, that tracks your eating window, helps you plan for the day, your movement, your eating times, so that you are pretty scheduled and that you're able to build upon that, which makes it more sustainable and easier to implement. So if you're interested, then you can click in the link in the description below. And I'm looking forward to welcoming you into the community, welcoming you into the course. And I certainly will be going over a number of different topics this week that I'm going to address, that are important to me, that I've heard in the community, the Her Soul Fit community, from different people, questions they had about intermittent fasting, questions they had about belly fat and our bodies as Black women, and our risk for heart health and metabolic health. What is more important? What can we do, particularly when we're in menopause? Is lifting weights the most important exercise that we can be doing? And if so, how much? These type of topics I'll be addressing over the next days. So stay tuned. I'll definitely, if you subscribe to this channel, you will get the notification right away when I go live. So definitely take a moment to do that after my live. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and definitely ask your questions during the live. That's what I'm here for, so that you can get live feedback from me right away. And I want to hear from you. I want to know what's important to you, so that I know what topics I should be addressing in the community. It's so important for me that we are growing in our knowledge about our health and about what we can be doing, and taking the shortest route, because I'm not trying to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what I need to do to lose fat, but also to be healthy, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of noise coming from every corner, and it's all interesting. You want to know, right? You're on Instagram trying to figure out, well, what does she say? And what does he do? And how do they do it? And before you get to the meat, and I say that figuratively, because y'all know I'm not eating meat, but when you want to get to the heart of what's going on, then sometimes you lose the steps, you lose how to go about doing it. So definitely check in on this channel. I am doing all that I can to be producing content that's relevant for us, so that we're not out there swimming and not knowing what's going on. I remember, and I said that in the beginning, that I had these expectations about how I should look in the past. I didn't talk about the process that I went to before I got to where I am today, about accepting my body type for what it is, and working with it, optimizing it, in a way, health first, to how I want it to be, and not using the beauty standards of society as a role model for me. Not doing that. But I had a phase that I went through, and that was when I was premenopausal. And I talk about this. I actually have this in the 70-page book that's in my course, where I talk about the issues that I had when I got into perimenopause. I had no idea that I was in perimenopause, right? I was just out there in my late 30s, early 40s is when it began. And I have always had skin problems, had eczema since a child, and I was eating everything, a lot of dairy. And before I cut that out, before my doctor told me that not only do I have eczema, but also histamine intolerance, I was eating all those things. And once I found that out, then I cut it out. So to make a long story short, I had increased my consumption of a lot of dairy, a lot of processed food. I was eating a lot of processed food, a lot of sugar. I've always had a sweet tooth, but as I went through perimenopause and menopause, it was like completely escalated. It was at its worst. So I know what it's like to be eating from the morning when I get up, like eating pancakes, having, coffee, thinking it's all innocent and fun. And then, by the time the day is over, I've eaten, I don't know how many desserts and how many meals with sweet stuff in it, feeling even my heart racing because I'm eating so much sugar, not being able to sleep because I'm completely high on sugar, just basically having a lot of side effects from my eating habits. It was out of hand. It was out of hand, and I was not aware that I had perimenopause as a trigger, as a reason, in addition to my own eating habits. So once I realized that I had the skin condition, that it had gotten worse and maybe even become more of a problem because of perimenopause, I did take away all of that food, mainly dairies, products, and meat, because it was just easier for me to eliminate that without getting rid of completely protein and carbs and fats. I wanted to make sure I had all those macros in there, but I couldn't eat those specific foods because it triggered those rashes. I had like horrendous skin issues all over my face, all over my arms, all over my bodies. You'll see it in the actual ebook that I have that's a part of my course. I show the pictures of my skin, and that was just a part of it. So in addition to that, I gained a lot of weight and I couldn't figure it out. And of course, because I had been an aerobics instructor and I really loved working out, I was so confused as to why I was not able to lose the weight. So I went through all kinds of changes before I figured it out. And it took me a lot of time. Of course, part of it was trying to figure out how I can eliminate food that was making my skin worse. But also part of it was, how do I eat healthy, but eat in a way that's satisfying? Because I don't want to just be eating, lettuce and, carrots. I want to have food that really tastes good, that fulfills me, comfort food, but that does not trigger me to continue eating, to, overeat, but also doesn't irritate me, that doesn't cause inflammation, or that does not cause bloating. I really want to eat in a way that is optimal for me and that promotes health. So knowing all of that, learning all of that, figuring it all out, after months, was a part of my story. And yeah, there were very awkward moments, and moments that weren't so pleasurable because, you feel, different in your body, having big t-shirts to maybe cover up your stomach that's rolling over your pants, or your pants not being able to fit, because you are, eating too much and you're not able to, control your eating habits anymore. You then get into this depressed state because you're overweight, because you've gained those pounds, you're not able to lose them as you were in the past. And so you start even eating more to comfort yourself, to self-soothe, to feel better about your situation. Why not eat some ice cream and have a little bit of fun, while you're, really not feeling good about your body. So I get all those things, been there, done that, felt completely confused, frustrated, discouraged, humiliated, in a lot of ways, because I thought, oh, I'm just really not caring about getting better, with my eating, about changing things so that I have control over my eating. These types of habits are the ones that are most important to me. Not necessarily how I looked on the outside. Yes, I felt the shame that I didn't look like I did before, that my body was, not in a state that I was proud of at the time. but I was really concerned that I just didn't know how to figure it out. I was completely confused, and that wasn't something that I had before. This confusion about how to eat and how to, get my body back in shape after I had eaten too much. All that wasn't working for me anymore. Again, because I had already entered into the menopausal stages where our body just works differently. The cards are basically, stacked against us, and we've got all kinds of hormonal issues going on that we are confronted with that we need to deal with. It's just different. So learning that, understanding that, I think we're all in the same boat when it comes to that. We all have similar symptoms. There are some who have, much more extreme symptoms than others. But what's important is that once you realize the issues, once you realize that you are um, you know, dealing with hormonal issues, then you really can start to put it together how to resolve the issues by figuring out and targeting how to, work against those hormonal problems. And part of that is getting your eating under control and setting up systems in place that will get a routine in place for you or get a routine established so that you're not having to think about it. It's on autopilot and you can just continue with your daily schedule, doing the things that you normally do with all these habits in place that will get you on the track to better health. So, with that said, I wish you all the best. I wish you all really a lot of strength and peace during your journey. Do not get caught up in the comparison game. Don't let others tell you what your body should look like. That you're bikini ready when they say no, you're bikini ready when you feel that you're bikini ready. And you are basically ready now, regardless of what state your body is in, right? You may not feel comfortable in the bikini, then don't put it on. If you're not into wearing bikinis, like I said, I had issues with in the past, then don't put it on. Then the bikini's not for you. But don't feel as though you can't show up on the beach as you are in the way that you want to because you don't look a certain way. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's not us. We're going to do us. We're going to do that what we feel comfortable with. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to enjoy the summer weather with all of its craziness, with the insects, with the mosquitoes and the flies and the ants and all the things. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to be happy about it. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to be in the sun, and we're going to enjoy all of it in the bodies that we have now. And we're going to work towards better health, and we're going to do it in a way that we can be proud of. So on that note, check out the link in the description notes if you wish to join the course. And if you have any questions about it, you can reach out to me in the comments. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And thank you for joining. I will talk to you soon. Take care.